Hello, this is Dr. Rupinder Kaur. Welcome to Physio Lectures. In the last video, we already discussed about the basics of multiple sclerosis. We also saw that the symptoms, diagnosis, pathophysiology of the multiple sclerosis. If you have not watched that video, then link is given in the description. Please check out that. In today's video, I am going to present a topic that is management of multiple sclerosis. Basically, in this, we will focus on the physiotherapy management of the multiple sclerosis. So, first of all, start with the medical management. Medical management includes disease modifying therapeutic agents for the MS like interferon beta 1b, which includes Betason and Extavia. Second is interferon beta 1a, which includes Avonex, Rabif, Copaxone, Gilenya, Tecfidera. Now, let's focus on the physiotherapy management. In physiotherapy management, our first aim is the management of the sensory deficits. As we know that we already discussed in the previous video that in multiple sclerosis, vision is affected in most of the cases. So, in case of blurred vision, it is important to instruct the patient to maintain adequate lighting at all the time. Example, use of the bright light at night. Second is that in case of double vision, first in case of blurred vision, adequate lighting is important, and second in case of double vision, patch over one eye is suggested. In case of double vision, it is advised to place a patch over one eye, and it is an important strategy for improving reading, driving, watching television. But there are some effects of patch over eye, so it is not recommended to use it all the time. So, however, eye patching is not be used all the time because it will prevent the possible adaptation of the CNS. Eye patching also interferes with the depth perception. So, these are the effects of eye patching. For use of more sensory symptoms, taping, verbal cueing, or biofeedback can also be effective form of augmenting feedback. Now, after the sensory deficits, it's important to care the skin. So, skin care, it includes the several points. First point is that the skin should be kept clean and dry. It should be cleansed and dried properly. Second, skin should be inspected regularly, at least once a day, and carefully with particular attention to the persistent area of redness and over bony prominences. Third is that clothing should be breathable and comfortable. It should be soft, not too loose or not too wrinkled or tight. Seams, buttons, pockets should not press on the skin, particularly on the weight bearing area. Now, if the patient is on the bed or spend more time on the wheelchair, then it is important to regularly pressure relief. So, regular pressure relief is essential in those cases. Patients should be instructed to change their position frequently, typically every 2 hours in a bed and every 15 to 30 minutes when they are sitting in a wheelchair. Pressure relieving devices may be necessary to protect insensitive area and should be implemented as appropriate. These can include mattresses made up of water, gel, air, or alternating pressure to distribute the body weight and reduce the shear and friction in bed. Third is management of pain. Pain can be classified into 4 categories. First of all, pain directly from multiple sclerosis. Second is pain secondary to other symptom of multiple sclerosis. Third, pain as a result of drug treatment of multiple sclerosis. And fourth is pain independent of multiple sclerosis. So the management of pain depend upon the accurate determination of its causes. And management is given according to the cause of the pain. Now, generally, patient may experience relief in a pain with regular stretching, exercise, massage, and ultrasound. Postural retraining and correction of faulty posture patterns along with orthotic and adaptive seating devices can reduce the malalignment and pain. So postural retraining is also important in case of multiple sclerosis because sometimes pain occur due to the faulty posture or the faulty movement pattern. So it is important to give the postural retraining to the patient. Stabbing pain is more common from the Lermontey sign, and it can be relieved with the soft cervical collar, which limits the neck flexion. In the previous video, we already discussed about the Lermontey sign that when the person do the neck flexion, then the stabbing pain occurs, especially in the lower limb. So in this, the soft cervical collar is used to prevent this type of pain. Pressure stocking or gloves can also be used to relieve the pain and converting the sensation of the pain to the pressure. Hydrotherapy or pool therapy using lukewarm water may also be have a beneficial effect on the pain dysesthesia. Stress management techniques are also important like relaxation training, biofeedback, meditation. It will help in reducing the both anxiety as well as pain. The use of transcutaneous electrical nerve stimulation to modulate the pain in a patient with MS has conflicting results because with some patients it experiences improvement and in some it worsening the symptoms. So according to the cause of the pain management differs in the patients, but these are some of the basic things which are used to relieve the pain. Now next is exercise training. For exercise training, strength and conditioning is important. First of all, the session should be scheduled on alternate days or during optimal time, such as in the morning when body core temperature tend to be lowest and before fatigue sets. In patients with greater neurological involvement may require the more frequent exercises. Example, daily exercise time. Resistance training modes can include weight machines, free or pulley weight, latex, resistance band or isokinetic machines. These all things help in the resistance training. Next important is circuit training. In circuit training, in which improved work capacity is developed through the use of various different stations that alternate the work between upper extremity and less distributes the load among the muscles and prove beneficial for reducing the likelihood of the fatigue. Sessions should be involve discontinuous work, carefully balancing exercise with adequate rest period. Adequate rest period is more important in case of the multiple sclerosis, and it also prevent from the deleterious effect of the overwork. Precautions should be taken to manage the body temperature and prevent the overheating, because in multiple sclerosis the overheating result in worsening the symptoms of the multiple sclerosis. So it is important to that during the exercise it is important to manage the body temperature of the patient, so that environmental temperature should be carefully controlled. Air conditioning is a medical necessity in many climates. Additional cooling can be achieved by the use of fans, wet neck wrap spray bottle for misting the skin with cool water, and immersion in cool water with adequate exercise. Functional training activities, example closed chain exercises, can be used to promote the strength and functional endurance. Individuals with ataxia and balance problem may require some suitable postures with more base of support like the modified plantigrade, quadruped or support sitting. Group exercise provide valuable motivation and social support. Next is flexibility exercises. Now in flexibility exercises, stretching and range of motion exercises are given which counterattack the effects of spasticity and also improve the flexibility of the patient. Next is management of fat. As we know that the person with multiple sclerosis tired soon, so multiple sclerosis related fatigue during exercise is often associated with the thermal stress. To prevent this, the adequate rest is given to the patient, and the use of cooling and pre-cooling treatment during the exercise proves to be beneficial. Second is energy conservation technique, which refers to the adoption of strategies that reduce overall energy requirement of the task and overall level of fatigue. Management of spasticity, cryotherapy and hydrotherapy are temporarily reduce the spasticity. Second is PNF stretching exercises like hold, relax, active contraction, contract, relax, active contraction. And third is active and passive range of motion exercises. All these prevent the spasticity or reduce the spasticity. Management of balance and coordination deficits. For this, the PNF techniques are used and dynamic postural control activities are given to the patient. In dynamic postural control activities, we progress according to the progression of the patients, like first of all do exercise in the sitting position, then in the standing position. In standing position, first of all ask the patient to stand properly, then ask the patient to raise the one arm up, and then once the patient achieves this, then ask the patient to raise the arm and also raise the opposite leg up. So so these are the some of example of dynamic postural control activities which are basically used for the balance and coordination. So after the balance and coordination, locomotor training. In locomotor training, tone management is important. Stretching and strengthening exercise are after the balancing and coordination exercises. Locomotor training is important, but for improved walking, it is important first of all to manage the tone. For stretching and strengthening and exercise are also given, which can improve the walking. Canes, forearm crutches, walkers can be used as an additional support and may be necessary to compensate for deficits in fatigue, strength, sensory loss, or balance. Management of speech and swallowing. For this, the resistive breathing training, transcutaneous neuromuscular electrical stimulation to the submental muscles, thermal tactile stimulation. So these three techniques are used for the management of the speech and swallowing. This is the management about the multiple sclerosis. If you like my video, then please share it and also subscribe my channel for more such videos. Thank you.